It felt like everybody around him was like looking at him like he was actually the Pope. It just felt like we were just walking around, just shaking our heads, just looking at each other going, what have we done? We've created history. Doug Howlett and Paul O'Connell were our mums and dads, and they were just so pleased for us. Ireland had never beaten the All Blacks in 111 years. We treated it like any other game in terms of the performance and the preparation and all of the stuff that went onto the pitch. Nobody knows New Zealand like Joe Schmidt does, so we fully bought into it. We were fully prepared. All of the stress and the anxiety and the nervousness and the nervous energy, all of that just disappears, and you get into the game, and all of a sudden you're completely focused. What kind of disrupted that, or really got into our heads early on, was Naholo scored within 5 minutes. Okay, we've seen this before. This is what the All Blacks do, and did we you start asking yourself questions. Did we underestimate? Are we fooling ourselves? Are we kidding ourselves? Maybe we're not actually good enough to cope. We built on our belief as that game went on, and in that first half, gradually we started to think, okay, actually, all of the expectation and kind of pressure we put on ourselves, we're right to put that pressure on ourselves because we can cope and we can compete with the best teams in the world. We were kind of vibrant, we had a lot of energy, we played a lot of rugby, and you can't come away from that because that's been so successful. If you come away from that, then you just invite that pressure, and you invite the All Blacks to get their tails up and get into a game that ultimately they were out of touch in. So we did exactly that. It's exactly the last thing you do. All of the old demons from a few years ago, they just came back for us, and we kind of shrank for a period of time. We felt like it was becoming real was when Robbie Henshaw went over for his try. Felt like that was a huge turning point. It felt like we'd stemmed the All Blacks' purple patch, and eventually now it was our time to get back into ascendancy. Felt like that day was a huge step in the direction of us playing positive rugby, playing with ball in hand, expressing ourselves, and playing to the strengths that we had. Such a special moment to create that history with that group of players in that pitch. And I remember seeing Doug Howlett and Paul O'Connell in the stand, and they were hugging each other as well. It felt like, I remember thinking, this looks like, my mum and dad weren't at the game, but it felt like Doug Howlett and Paul O'Connell were our mums and dads, and they were just so pleased for us. And we did a lap of honour, and we looked up, and there was a lad dressed up as the Pope, completely poker faced. It felt like everybody around him was like looking at him like he was actually the Pope. And it felt like we got the approval, we got the nod of approval from O'Connell, and then the Pope kind of looked at us and said, "Great job today, lads." For me, that was probably coming to the end, and it felt like a kind of appropriate way for me to start to wind down an international career that I was very proud of, but it certainly was one of the best occasions in my career.